Hello, I'm Tom Lee, and this is Yale Center for British Art at Home. In these programs, we take a look at one artwork from the Yale Center for British Art's huge collection, and we pair it up with a traditional story, folktale, or a myth. Today, I want to look at a painting by Mr. Frank Holl. It's called Peeling Potatoes. Mr. Holl painted this picture about the year 1880. And this is a copy of Peeling Potatoes that I printed out on my home computer from the Yale Center for British Art's website, www.britishart.yale.edu. You can find any of the paintings in the museum's collection there, and many of them can be printed out at home, just like this. So if you want to look at the picture in detail or even make a drawing or a sketch, you can print your own copy at home. What do you notice about this picture? What's going on here? There's a woman sitting next to a fireplace and she's peeling potatoes, as the title of the painting tells us. She has a pile of potatoes on the table next to her and a bowl in her lap. But when I look at her face, I wonder what she's thinking about. Is she thinking about those potatoes, or is she thinking about something else? And when I look at this picture, I notice so many different objects in the room around her. There's a cradle on the ground in front of her, and there's a basket next to the cradle. There's a teapot on the table, a plate on the windowsill. I notice a little stool and a broom next to the fire. Looking at all the different objects that Mr. Holl included in this painting makes me think of an old English folktale called Master of All Masters. Once upon a time, there was a man who hired a young woman to be his servant. And when he brought her home, he said, "Now, my dear, I do not have ordinary words for ordinary things. If you're going to work for me, you'll have to learn all my special words." "Very well," said the young woman, "I'll do my best. For example," said the gentleman, "what will you call me?" She said, "Well, I'll call you sir, or I could call you boss, or whatever you please." "No," said the gentleman, "no. You must call me Master of All Masters." "Master of All Masters? Very well," said the young woman. "I'll try to remember." And then the gentleman pointed to his bed, and he said, "Every morning you must make this neat and tidy. What will you call it, my dear?" "Well, I'll call it your bed, or your cot, or whatever you please." "No," he said, no. "This is my barnacle, and you must always call it a barnacle." "A barnacle?" said the young woman. "Very well, I'll try to remember." "And what about these, my dear?" said the gentleman, and he held up a pair of pants. "You must keep these neat and pressed. What will you call them?" "I'll call them pants, or trousers, or whatever you please." "No," he said, no. "These are my squibs and crackers, and that's what you must always call them." "Squibs and crackers? Barnacle? Very well, I'll try to remember." Now he pointed to the fire in the fireplace. "Keep this burning, keep it bright. What will you call it, my dear?" "But I'll call it a fire, or a flame, or whatever you please." "No," he said, no. "Hot cockalorum it is called, and so you must always call it. Hot cockalorum. I'll try to remember." Now, next to the fire, there was a bucket of water. "And what will you call this, my dear?" "Well, I'll call it water, or wet, or whatever you please." No, he said, "Pondalorum is what you will call it." "Pondalorum, hot cockalorum. Very well, I'll try to remember." Next, he pointed to the kitty cat that was curled up beside the fire. And what will you call my pet, my dear? I'll call it a cat, or a kitten, or whatever you please. No, said the gentleman, no, no. White-faced Simony is her name, and so you must always call her. White-faced Simony Pondalorum, I'll try to remember. Next, he took her outside, and he pointed to the whole house. And what will you call this, my dear? Well, I'll call it a house, or a cottage, or whatever you please. No, said the gentleman, no, no. High Topper Mountain, it is called. High Topper Mountain, white-faced Simony, squibs and crackers. I'll try to remember. Well, that night, guess what happened? The cat got a little spark of fire on its tail, and the cat began to run around the room, and the fire began to spread. But luckily, the girl was awake. She smelled the smoke, she ran downstairs and saw what was happening. And then she ran upstairs again and she said, Sir, sir, get out of your bed, put on your trousers. The cat has fire on its tail. If you don't get water to put it out, the whole house will be on fire. And the gentleman said, What's that you say? What's that, my dear? I don't understand a word you're saying. Sir, get out of your bed. Put on your trousers. The cat has fire on her tail. If you don't get water to put it out, the whole house will be on fire. I don't understand a thing you're saying, said the man. Oh, for goodness sakes, master of all masters, get out of your barnacle and put on your squibs and crackers, because white-faced Simony has hot cockalorum on her tail. If you don't get pondalorum to put it out, High Topper Mountain will all be on hot cockalorum. Oh, goodness, said the gentleman, why didn't you say so in the first place? And he jumped out of his bed and he put out the fire. And that's all.
Did you like that silly story? I hope so. When students come to the museum, we find that some of them love to sketch, and some of them love to write, and some of them love to do both. So I'd like to give you an invitation to take a look at Frank Holl's painting, Peeling Potatoes, and to make a sketch. Just a regular piece of paper and a pencil, and draw what you see. You might want to draw the whole picture or just a detail. Maybe you want to focus in on the woman. What do you think about her? What clues do you have about her life? I'd love you to write a paragraph that introduces this woman. Tell us who she is. What's her life like? What things would we want to know about what she does all day? In the story, the gentleman makes up ridiculous words for ordinary things, and Frank Holl included many ordinary things in his painting. Can you make up ridiculous words for some of the objects in this picture? What would you call a teapot? What would you call a potato? Can you make up a story and use these silly words? We'd love to read it. Some students like to retell stories with a series of pictures. I wonder if you could make 5 drawings and show the whole story in those 5 drawings, from the beginning to the middle to the end. If you make a drawing or do some writing about this picture, we'd love to see your work. You can email us at ycba.education@yale.edu. You can just take a picture of your sketch or your writing and email it to us. We'd love to read about it. Thanks for watching Yale Center for British Art at Home. Come back for another story another day.